Showtime. I think we're live.
Yeah, hello and welcome into episode 2 of Royal Bettors. Today we're going to be breaking down the Atlantic Division across the NHL. I'm Jaric Rubel, that's Jake Elder, and we're just going to kind of break down what this show is again because it's only episode 2 and we're trying to grow a platform. So we are Royal Bettors. We're going to be a 7-day-a-week NHL betting show starting October 12th once the regular season begins. Jake's listening on his phone. So we're going to be doing that 7 days a week, every day at 9 a.m., except on Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to go live at 3 p.m. That seems to be like a heftier schedule in the NHL throughout like the 5 weekdays. So it just kind of makes sense to, I don't know, try and get a different group of listeners at the same time. Because I've had an idea that maybe we could take this over to Twitter on Tuesdays and Thursdays and try the Periscope out. See how that goes.
If we get enough following days, have some
Right.
people
So
sign up.
we're still trying to get this all together. So for today's show, Jake, do you want to go ahead and explain kind of what today's show is gonna be like?
So today we're gonna be, doing the season preview of the Atlantic Division and talking about where we think the teams will be ranked, and then after we talk about the teams, we give some future bets for players and the trophies. And I got dogs barking already. Can't control it. Makes no sense. Haven't barked in the past 30 minutes. I've been sitting here, but
Right when we go live, right? It's just that good juju.
I guess we can start with who we think is going to be at number 8. And
Do you think this one's gonna be any debate?
I think this one.
Should we just skip it in all honesty? Like,
I
do we even
almost
need to
didn't even
talk
put an
about it?
image in here
Right? Like I
because
wrote four. I put 4 words down on my note. They said, "Need I say more?"
need I say more? We have the Buffalo Sabres.
I mean, what a disaster franchise. I mean, Eichel's not going to be there anymore. They shipped off Reinhardt. So middle stats basically your number 1 center. Asplin's on your first line. Like, oh, I mean, Ristolainen's gone. Their goaltending tandem is Craig Anderson and who's behind him? Like
I couldn't even tell you. I
Right?
tend to
I
look
forgot
at
who's behind him. It's just disaster. Worst goaltending tandem in the NHL. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this team because they're going to be 32nd out of 32nd from the day
Yeah,
the
I don't
season
even see
starts.
them stealing games like any other bottom feeder team. Like I just see
I'm
them bottom of the list.
I'm really curious if they'll go on any like super long losing streaks like they did last year. So it could be a good, opportunity to just fate Saber or, whoever they're playing puck line, puck line. That could be the only time you puck line in the NHL this year. Like last year, there were no empty nets, and our buddy
Well,
Alex was talking about that on Twitter yesterday.
oh, and last year was when you had that call with Boston and the Buffalo game, right? It was Boston
The
Buffalo.
4-1, yeah,
Yeah, like
you're
there's
right about that.
there's gonna be potential to find them at like their lowest lows. And
Because there's parts throughout the season. What's up, Stan? In honor of Stan Bowman. There's parts of the Sabres where like you could find games where I call it stacking in the sports book. So you could find like teams puck line, a team to win in regulation if the price is right. And then I would normally tackle Sabres team total under 2.5. And then either the other team's first period and then their team total over or just like their first period. And it worked out pretty well for me last year. 3 of the 4 times I tried it, it was pretty successful.
and shutouts too. Like Tampa
Yeah.
and Florida and Boston can all lay a team down, not a lot of goals, and if anybody's gonna do it, it's gonna be Buffalo. So
Right. And they're playing everyone in the NHL this year too. There's gonna be opportunities when they go down to, Nashville or Dallas, even Chicago. Like Flurry every 13 games, right? It's a theory.
glad we had something to talk about Buffalo.
Right? Went from nothing to something.
And
So let's
also for the
go
rest of
ahead.
the division, we do have the same rankings,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's
This one
probably
kind of
because
came out the same.
we talk a lot, so it kind of messes with our brain. Like at one point, we both had different rankings, but when we talk so much, we kind of like, oh, that makes sense, and then
right?
we're like, okay,
So,
I think you're
like,
right.
once you get into like the top five, I mean, I'm sure like the bottom three teams are super predictable, but once you get into the top five, then it's like, okay, well, now we're just giving you reasons as to why we think there isn't really going to be much debate in the show, at least in today's show.
Yeah,
So, number 7, the Detroit
big
Red
one.
Wings.
Detroit.
The Detroit Red Wings. It just broke today that Jacob Ryan is out 4 months after having surgery, I believe on his shoulder. But I mean, Detroit had a good offseason, if you ask me. They drafted well. They brought in the Dalkovich. I mean, I think they're going to be a great dog to bet on throughout the season. And I mean, they're going to be plus. Just I think maybe only when they play Buffalo they'll be favored. That's my guess. Maybe Arizona too, because Arizona is going to be a dumpster fire.
I agree, and I also have Detroit there. But like you said, they are going to be a good dog team. Nedeljkovic, we talked about him last show. Like I thought he was the real deal with the Canes. Obviously, they have a much better
Right?
defense, but I mean, they just beat the Hawks. I know it's preseason, but
Bobby Ryan tying
they
goal in the
didn't
winner
look
in the
too
shootout.
bad.
Mr. PTO. But like I think
Uh,
Detroit's gonna be better than the average fan thinks they're gonna be, to be honest. Like I think they're gonna steal games against Toronto, I think they'll steal games against Florida, Montreal, like those teams. Within the division at least. And they're gonna be a good dog throughout this whole season. Don't sleep on the Red Wings. Don't I guess I should say don't fade the Red Wings. You might get your ass kicked.
yeah, I remember last year. My stepdad holds me to it. I told him Ottawa was going to be like bottom tier, worst team because I thought Ottawa was going to be really
I
bad
thought that
last
about the
year.
Blackhawks. I thought
Yeah, I know.
disaster.
We thought they were going to be pretty bad too, but like Ottawa, like when they were facing teams, I was like, they don't got a chance. Like I didn't think they got goalies. They don't got. I mean, they had scores, but I guess I didn't know how good the young core was. So
I
it's
could
like
only
you
fade
hold
them
me
against
to it.
Edmonton. That was the only
What's
time
up?
I could ever do it. Like last year for Ottawa, that was like the only time I could fade them was against Edmonton and feel confident because Edmonton just scored boatloads of goals on them.
Right.
Drysaitel, I hit that hat trick prop.
Yeah. But like they go up against the Leafs, and I'd be like, well, Austin Matthews is gonna go off, and then he just doesn't, and then Ottawa wins, and then we're like, oh, like Ottawa can steal games,
Well,
but
if you're watching
we're
this
not
and you
on Ottawa
couldn't
yet.
tell where this is, yeah, well, I think we kind of are. Number 6, as you could tell by this like flawless transition that we didn't tell you was a transition. The Ottawa Senators are number 6, and we've kind of talked about them. Like I think they're the best of the bad teams in the NHL. Like they got guys who could fly down the ice and score goals. Like I don't think they're a playoff team yet, but like if they're still like around that wild card spot in February, I'm not gonna be surprised. I just think their defensive core is still a little weak. Matt Murray, I really don't know who he is right now. So it's like there's still some questions on that back end for them. I love their
Yeah,
forward core.
and then what is Gustafson their goalie? Is his name Gustafson, or is he
No,
not
Matt
good?
Murray, Philip Gustafson, he's there. So yeah.
Gustafson's not terrible, right? Like
He
I
was all
feel
right
like
for
they.
him last year. I was surprised they let Joey Decord walk in the
Oh yeah, that's who the other goalie
expansion
was.
draft.
Yeah, but they're fast and young, and uh, Brady Kachuk don't mess around.
Yeah, hopefully
So
they gave him a contract extension soon.
right, but kind of similar to Detroit. Not much else to say. I think they'll
I
steal
think
some
they're very
games.
similar to Detroit. I just think Detroit has a better goalie. And I think Ottawa might score more goals. So I mean like are they similar? I don't know. Standings wise, yes. Maybe play wise, no. But you want to go ahead and go and introduce number 5?
With number 5, and for some reason I wanted to switch him, but I can't actually do that. But we have Montreal at number 5, and
Canadiens.
with Montreal, I mean they're not. They're still the same team they were last year. Carey Price, they let him be open to be taken by the Kraken, but he ends up staying. And I mean, they did lose Shea Weber though. He's not going to be
They
healthy for
did.
this year, right? So that's a
He
big
might
hit.
not play again.
Yeah.
He might
I
end
mean,
up
that's a
calling
big
it
hit,
there.
but
Like Price was banged up with hip injury and knee injury end of last year. So like I I'm pretty sure he'll be ready to go, but I'd have to read reports on that again. Not too touched up on that. I'm sorry, but I mean I know he was banged up at the end of last year. Like, I think they are bad. Like they added Savard, they lost Denault, which hurts. Like I think it's the division they're in that's making me like down on them. Like
yeah, because
it was it
I
was
think
a
it's a
glory run
division.
last year.
Yeah, it was not supposed to happen at all. I think it's
Yeah,
just
like Dvorak was brought in, Druin's back. Like I mean, they got more forward core there, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to keep up with all the other teams in the Atlantic that we're going to talk about.
yeah. I think the Atlantic's the division. I literally think the Habs, Sens, and Detroit are all very similar teams that aren't good enough to be the top dogs. Because I think this division, like the halfway point, is there's four great teams and four
Yep.
not so great. But I mean, Sabres are probably just below all three. But
They're
I
below the whole
I
league.
like the Habs to
Some
steal
of
some
the AHL
games.
teams too.
If you can find a good spot for Carey Price in the
Yeah, it's just like
game,
Habs are a weird team for me. I don't know.
losing. I mean,
I
obviously you're
don't
not
have a
going to.
strong opinion on them, but like
Yeah,
it's just the division there. It makes it so tough for me to like put them in a spot where they're going to be in playoffs.
yeah, and I mean they weren't ever going to pay Kakanyeme, but that's a strong loss. But I guess they
Right.
deserve it for whatever they did with what's his name, because they did it right back to him, right?
With
The
Aho,
Canes.
well, yeah, that happened a couple years ago. They offer sheeted Aho, and then this year Kakanyemi. It was like revenge. They actually got Kakanyemi.
That's kind
So
of weird, but
right,
whatever with that.
I thought it was brilliant. I don't know. I loved every minute of that on Twitter. I was loving it.
Yeah, I mean,
You ready to
hopefully it
raise
works
some
out for
eyebrows?
the teams, but yeah, this one is
You guys ready
people.
for this one? This might get
You
the
want to
comment
say?
section roaring if the right crowd reaches this video.
Right? We have the
Without
Toronto
further
Maple
ado,
Leafs.
there they are, the Leafs. Guys, like, I think they're underwhelming. I don't think they're that good. I think they're top heavy. Like, their bottom six sucks. They did nothing to help their defensive core. I like Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek. Like, I think they're going to be a pretty good goaltending duo. I don't think Campbell's going to rattle off 10 plus wins in a row like he did last year. But, like, I still think they're going to get the job done. I mean, like, you look at their top six, it's Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, and then they've been putting Bunting up there. It's like, and Spets has been sliding in and out, and then he's probably going to end up in the bottom six. It's like, I don't like this lineup at all. Like, I don't feel good about it in the Atlantic Division when there's other teams with just way more firepower and goal scoring, better defensive structure. Like, Toronto's, I think they could be a wild card team, but like, man, I could be wrong because in the last show, we have Pittsburgh and Washington out of the playoffs, but I mean, they very much so could end up in as well.
Yeah,
Like
this is
Toronto's gonna be a
definitely.
dogfight.
It's just watching them play last year in that Canadian division, which was easier competition, and yeah, they did good, but like there was a lot of games that they seemed like they had to score 5 goals to win when you just shouldn't
Right? Against
be
Ottawa
playing like
too.
that. Yeah,
Ottawa
like
kind of like owned them.
and of course they still have the curse of not getting past round one in the playoffs, and now they're gonna come here and have to play Boston, Florida, and Tampa, and I don't see them beating them
Right?
majority of the games. I don't think they'll win. So, like you said, top heavy
Exactly.
team. I mean, the bottom six. I don't even know who's on the third line. The fourth line's always they like to do their old veteran players, but that third line I couldn't even tell you who's on it.
Yeah, Kashan. I know. I'm trying to name off the top of my head. I should have rosters in front of me, but I'm dealing with Wi-Fi issues still, so it's just kind of hard to have extra stuff around me. Daily face-offs, my lovely source that I like to use. But yeah, I mean, like Spezza, Wayne Simmons on that fourth line. I mean, who's the third line center? Oh, David Camp. He scored 2 goals.
Cam.
And like I have questions about Tavares too. Like I know he's probably gonna end up being all right, but like man, that hit. Like we'll see how long term in the season it goes for him.
And with that being said, well, I'm just gonna tell you the number for the Leafs to miss the playoffs is plus 850.
Gargantuan,
Plus 850 for a team that I don't think beats these top three in rankings. And I
right?
firmly believe they will be number four, making them fight for a wild card spot.
And
And
an
at
eight
that point,
fifty.
yeah,
Oh,
850, say less. Because, like, you won't find another team that has a real shot to miss the playoffs at that number. So that's a good look.
exactly. If they're
Now
lucky, they're
entering,
a wild card team. But
yeah,
oh,
entering the top three. At number three, we have the Boston Bruins,
the bees, they're still
and
around.
I think they I mean, people like to say they made a good off season. I mean, I think they did. I don't think it was all that great, but like
Hockey
it's just
moves,
yeah, they made moves. They did what they want to do. I think Jake DeBrusk is still on like trade lookout or what's up
right?
with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he goes to San Jose and then Tomas Hertl comes the other way.
That would
Because
be
they're in
huge.
the market for a second line center still, because David Krejci retired. I mean, they brought in Thomas Nosek, they brought in Eric Holla, they brought in Nicolino, they brought in Derek Forbert. Like, they brought in good veteran guys. I mean, Foligno, whatever, he's on the wrong side of 30 at this point. Allmark and goalie, like, he was really good for Buffalo last year. Like, that team's a disaster. He's the reason they didn't have single digit wins. Like, straight up. Like,
Yeah,
they wouldn't have 10 wins
like
if he wasn't on the team.
looking at his numbers on that team, it just didn't add up, and he was actually very good for bottom
Right? He
feeder
made me
team.
nervous to bet against Buffalo sometimes.
Yeah. So is Rask? He's done, or is he coming
Rask,
back? Like,
Rask, I don't think he'll be back in a Bruins uniform.
really? I know they were talking. Like, I just read something about it. Like, he's looking to come back, and but I mean, if he comes back, that's a huge
Like
boost.
that
But
1-2 punch is incredible if he were to ever come
yeah.
back. But I don't think it'd be in a beast sweater.
And then did they make? I should put rosters in front of me, but I keep forgetting to
Their
do that.
roster's deep. Like, I mean, now that they got Taylor Hall there, like if he scores 30, 35 goals, like then they got two top six, groups that could go out there and, win you
Yeah.
games. So
Perfection line never fails to amaze.
Pasternak and Marchand.
Yeah.
Bergeron's there. Nice two-way presence. Hey, you got anything else
Yeah.
on the Bees? I think they're just a solid
Um,
team, well coached, that's still going to be there. They might have
yeah,
a
and
slow start. I think them in Toronto might flip flop who's in that third spot for a little bit, but I think the Bruins are going to end up in that spot.
I just think they'll be more consistent than Toronto.
Yep.
But
It would
at number
Bruins could
two,
be that team that wins. Yeah, here. Bruins could be that team that wins like 8 in a row, and then all of a sudden they're in a beautiful spot, and then they'll go off on a little, slow run. Like you were telling me about this, then they'll win 6
oh
in a row,
yeah,
and it's like
because if
that's how
that
they're going to end up there.
when that top line's on, that top line is on. Like Pasternak will be scoring every game, and you'll just because I always look to bet him. Like, hey, Pasternak's probably gonna score today. Let's go see it, and then he's got low odds. I'm like, and then he scores like 2 or 3 goals, and you're like, oh, pretty
Right.
easy bet there. But all right, at number two, which I mean, a lot of people in the hockey world are very excited about, including us. We
Love this
have
team.
the Panthers.
Cats, roll cats.
Yes, sir. Florida Panthers are a fun team. I mean, Spencer Knight walking in the building. I mean, shot him through the roof and all around just fun to watch, deep in every category. And what I think if they had Aaron Ekblad last year, would have been a different story in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, like this team. I mean, they're probably the best team in the East, but at the same time, like I don't want to bet against Tampa Bay to not win this division because they're gonna have pretty much a fully healthy, group of superstars this year, which they haven't had in a long time. And I mean, but Florida, man, like this team could end up in the conference finals. Like, I mean, they roll four lines. Aaron Ekblad's back. Mackenzie Weegar had a breakout year last year. Sam Reinhart's in. The Bennett Huberdeau
Noah
Duclair line
Dobson.
was one. No, Dobson's not. He's on the Islanders. Where have you
Oh,
been?
frick. No, oh, no, Mayfield. Is he also on the
No,
Islanders?
you're thinking on the Islanders. Where's
God,
your
I'm
head
thinking
at?
of the whole
Where's your head
Islanders
at?
team.
Where is your head at?
Who's
You were talking Jags and Jets yesterday. Like, what the
Yeah, dude, I'm mixing up so many
heck?
teams. I just get excited and then I'm like, oh, these guys. But
No,
well,
dude. Like the Bennett Huberdeau Duclair line was the best line in hockey. Like, I think Knight's gonna end up being the number one goalie. I mean, but if Bobrovsky's playing, that means he's probably doing a good job. So I really like Florida this year. I think they could end up being the best team in the East by the time the playoffs are done. Yeah, stick around for the futures bets. You might be interested.
yeah, like you said, I mean, if Bobrovsky's on and like playing good and starts to look bad, you can throw Spencer Knight in there anytime. I think that
Right?
they should make that decision that if he lets 2 goals in the first period, like pull switch the goalies out, make that move fast. Like I don't seems
Q's
like
not afraid to do that. And I think
yeah.
with Q, they're probably in the market for another kind of defenseman at some point because I do think they're a little thin there. As Q says, you could never have enough defensemen. So I think Florida will probably be in the market for one of them at some point.
But yeah, a lot of people are on this Florida hype. Like everywhere I'm looking on YouTube, it's like Florida to win the cup? Question mark. Like,
I haven't watched many videos. I'm just kind of.
oh, you haven't seen like, have you seen them at least? Like, because like NHL Network did a whole thing on it
I
too, and
did
I was
watch
like,
the NHL Network one. I know Mike Kelly's big on him. My guy. Love Mike Kelly. All
yeah,
right. Well,
Rodko
you got
Gudis
any
is my guy though.
Radko? All right. You got anything else on the Cats?
No, favorite team to watch this year.
Right.
Go Q, you
Probably
know.
them or the
Yeah,
Rangers.
yeah, big fan for the Joel Quinville. You know, want him to continue winning.
All
But
right.
at
Number one.
number one, and they get their own little word Atlantic Division winners right here, Tampa Bay.
I mean, the Bolts are the Bolts, right, Jake?
Yeah, and like I mean, thinking that Stamkos and Kucherov are gonna play a healthy season together.
And Point and Hedman and
I know
Vasilevsky.
obviously those guys, but
But it's just
2 years
oh,
ago they were missing Stamkos. Last year they were missing
I
Kucherov,
know.
and now they're actually gonna be there for a full season. That seems
Without
scary.
a monkey on their back. Like, they don't have pressure either.
Just 2 Stanley Cup wins and Vasilevsky carrying the fuck out of the team, but
Like I like they could probably three-peat. Like I hate not having parity in sports, but like this team's so dang good. And even though they lost Johnson and Gord and Savard, like they're gonna build that back. Tampa always finds guys. The trade deadline's always a thing. Like the Bolts are gonna be good. Like
yeah,
they're the best
and
team
I
in
mean,
the I don't know if they'll win the President's Trophy, but I'd still say they're the best team in the NHL, not just because they're the reigning Cup champions.
yeah, yeah, President's Trophy comes down to difficulty of schedule
I
and
mean, it's them or Florida in the East, if you ask me.
yeah, 100%. I mean, because this, like I said, this division's so top heavy. I feel like the top four compared to the bottom four. Unlike the Metro, we have, I mean, that goes 6 deep, maybe
Right.
seven.
Metro's the scariest division. Essential too.
But we don't have much to say about Tampa because they're just
I think the
they're
only thing
Tampa.
that could derail them is injuries, and I don't want to like predict injuries. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they're gonna score at will. I mean, their decor goalie are elite. Like they have some of the best forwards the league has. Like
And who'd they get the
Tampa's the
backup for
best. Ryan Elliott,
Vasilevsky? Yeah, much better backup than McKiller or whatever that dude. I don't
McElhinney.
know. Anytime he was in, I feel like it was just an instant loss for them. And I feel like everybody knew that. I don't know. Like on Twitter, you can never see a Tampa pick when he's in that like trustworthy. I would never. I don't know if I'd bet against Tampa. That's a hard thing to do, but when
Right.
he's in that, I'm not betting with them. That's for sure.
All right, so that's our Atlantic Division rankings. If you want to go ahead and just post them on the screen, I know you got a little graphic again.
Yeah.
All right, so it's all the
And then,
same, and man, the Leafs sitting there. I know people are looking at that and they're like, man, these guys, they're going
but
out there, but
I mean, I don't know how you can. I don't know. They're just
the
so
Leafs
favored,
just
and
like I
they're
can't believe they're
favored in the
favored to win the
betting.
division in books.
Yeah, and they're just favored so deep in the betting market that like they are worth a bet against
Yep.
because Boston's Boston, and I think Florida and Tampa are just a level above these two teams.
All
But
right, so let's go ahead and get into our Atlantic Division futures bets. I'm gonna go ahead and start things off with two Stanley Cup futures. And by the way, I've talked about these teams. I'm sure you can figure out which teams they are. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 700, and then the Florida Panthers at plus 1800. Now, I think one of these two teams is coming out of the East. I don't think any other team's gonna come out of the East, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm high on the Flyers. I think they're gonna get to the conference finals. Maybe the Islanders. I just don't see any team beating one of these two teams from Florida. Like they're both just so deep. They have the world class goaltending. I mean, their defense will be able to get it done, especially if Ekblad has a Norris type year that we think he could have. I mean, look out for these two teams from Florida. I mean, we know what Tampa could do. I don't really got to explain that.
yeah, I mean, you
I don't
said
really see
Tampa.
an underdog. Like Florida's a good price, plus 1800. Like they really shouldn't be that. They should be plus 1,000 if anything.
Yeah, I don't see, like you said, I don't see any other team coming out the East. Like, yeah, the Flyers and Islanders, anybody like in the Metro can surprise them, but it just Tampa's a force to be reckoned with. That
So
I
it's
don't think
Florida.
you're stopping. I mean, Florida's our biggest hype because what they showed last year without their best defenseman, Norris Trophy finalist defenseman,
And I
basically.
wonder what would have happened if Q would have went with Spencer Knight in Game 3 instead of waiting till
Yeah,
Game
you like
5.
bring that up a lot. They brought him in maybe too late because they were contending every game. I mean, that was one of the funnest series to watch. The
It was, yeah,
interstate series
a lot of
there.
goals.
You want me to? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, you said Tampa, and then he probably has his other one is going to be the Panthers to make the cup, which I mean
yeah,
you
I
talked
said
about
that
that, right?
one too.
Oh, you
Plus
said it
18,
already.
plus
Yeah,
1800.
plus
Waking up
eighteen
too
hundred.
late, fuzzy minded.
Wait, you have plus 1800?
Yeah,
Oh, that's to win.
yeah, to
Gotcha.
win the cup. Oh, you just having to win. Okay,
I
yeah. Well,
have
I like.
no. I have
I'd like
some
them.
money.
The only way that I think they lose in the cup final, like man, like the West doesn't have anything that good. Like Colorado, Vegas, and like I don't want like I'd say Chicago because I'm a Chicago fan to an extent. Like if they made the final, but like I don't think there's much out west that either of these two teams are gonna lose if they make the final.
Yeah, but the Avs are. I don't know. People are.
I don't trust Darcy Kemper. I'll say that right now. Pacific Division preview right now. I like Darcy Kemper's not gonna get it done in the playoffs.
I mean, does any goal like Grubauer did good, but like, yeah. Either way, I have the Panthers to make the cup at plus 900 and to win at plus 1800. But I guess, yeah, I never looked at it like that. Like, if they make it, who would they be losing to? I don't know.
Right?
Ah, Foil Knuckles is in chat.
Hey
Sorry.
Don, good to
Over this
see
late.
you.
He said, nice background, not. And,
Yeah, good
and then
with beer
Ottawa
Red
over
Wings last night,
Detroit.
buddy.
He said, Ottawa over Detroit. Crack must be making a comeback.
Yeah, you're right. The cracks in Seattle. They're cracking.
Nah, he said crack, like crack, crack.
I
Hey,
know.
what's
I
up?
gotcha.
What's
I
up,
gotcha.
Don? Don,
All
we
right.
gotta play some NHL soon.
Right, we do. NHL 22s are around the corner. All right. Team futures. I got one. I know you got the same one. Plus 850. We talked about it earlier. The Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. They could get it as a wild card, but at plus 850, I don't think it's a bad bet at all. None of you should
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, I mean you throw what, $5 down, make what, 50 plus? No, way more than that.
Way more than that.
Yeah.
You'll make a good chunk. You can put
Yeah, it's a
whatever
big
whatever
it's a
you whatever you consider a unit. That's how I take it.
literally
Bet
just
what you want to bet.
say you just buy, like, that's buying a fast food meal and turning it into whatever that is, $75 plus 800. I don't know. Whatever it is. Either way, it's worth the bet. Um, I'll go with one of my future bets for the Norris Trophy, and we've talked about it many times. Aaron Ekblad, he had that season last year, and if he never got hurt, I mean, who knows how things would have turned out? But who's to say he can't do it again?
Right?
And
You
that's
want to
plus
go?
2,000. So,
You want to go through the rest of
yeah.
your player futures? Then I'll go through mine.
I mean, it's kind of yours, but I reminded you of it that Jaric here is a year ahead on a lot of things he talks about. Like, he'll say something, and
It
I'll be like,
happens so much too, and I just
yeah.
don't go back to it.
Like, he'll say
That's why I
something, and I'll be
doubled
like,
down on the Flyers this year.
yeah. And I'll totally agree. I'm like, that sounds like it could happen. And then it doesn't happen. And then the next year, I'll be like, dude, didn't you say, like, this was going to happen? And then it happens. So, with that being said, last year, he was on the big hype of Braden Point leading the league in goals. And as we saw in that playoff run, man was scoring every game. What? He had like 8
With
games in a row.
Kucherov back, and
Yeah.
Kucherov's back for this regular season.
So who's to say he doesn't make a run at it this year for most goals
He could
when
score
last year?
45, 50. I
Yeah,
really think he could.
yeah. I mean,
I
he
don't think
scored
I'm
8
crazy
for 8,
saying that either.
and he's plus 2,000 is what I got him at for that. So, I mean, I reminded you of that, but you can take the credit. But I mean, we'll split it in half with the credit there. I think that's all I got.
That's all you got in the player department? All right, well, I got a few. And you touched on two of them. Ekblad for the Norris plus 2,000, and then Rocket Richard to Brady Point plus 2,000. Continue on here. I like for the Hart Trophy, Nikita Kucherov is plus 900. Now it's like he could put up 110 points this year. Tampa could win, have the best record in the Eastern Conference, maybe win the President's Trophy. It's like that's still a good. I mean, it's a good bet for him to win the Hart Trophy. Like he could be a finalist, and we're all like, okay, bang, that's cool. Then I got for the Calder Trophy, Spencer Knight plus 800, Cole Caulfield plus 225. Now, both of these guys are going to be finalists. One of these guys are going to win it. I think it's going to have to be a real shot in the dark for it to be anyone else. I can't really name who it could be. So, Spencer Knight plus 800. I think he should probably be like plus 500. Even though I get the fact that he's probably going to split starts with Bobrovsky and stuff, so I could play a factor into it. But I mean, it's going to be one of these two guys. Maybe Marco Rossi in Minnesota. I don't think so.
Well, looking at the odds actually are changed now.
Are they?
And see, like, I'm with you on. So last year, actually, I bet Kaprizov, and I put a hefty amount of money on that, and I thought he was locked in. And I really do think Caulfield is, like you said, it's Caulfield or Knight. Like, they play Knight enough, Knight will be up there. But I don't see what's stopping Caulfield from leading rookies in every category. And I mean,
Right?
he is favored,
Exactly.
but his odds did move to plus 300 on DraftKings, which actually
All right.
shocked me to
So
see.
well, I got
I didn't
plus
think,
225. So
yeah, I didn't
screw
think he would
me.
ever. I don't know why his odds would go down, but
Because he got hurt. He's out for a week.
oh,
Yeah. So that could be why.
well, that makes sense.
Right.
But
I got one more for you guys, and I'm gonna go back to Nikita Kucherov. I'm gonna put a sprinkle on plus 600 to win the Art Ross. Because again, if Connor McDavid gets hurt or just misses any kind of time, I mean, if he finishes around the 100-point mark, a lot of other people are too. So it could be anybody's game. So I mean, Art Ross or Nikita Kucherov at plus 600, like he's gonna be around 100 points. So I think that's worth a good sprinkle on. So that'll wrap up my futures. I got for the Stanley Cup, Tampa and Florida plus 700, plus 1,800. Leafs to miss the playoffs plus 850. Kucherov for the Hart plus 900. Ekblad for the Norris plus 2,000. Knight plus 800 for the Calder. Caulfield plus 225 for the Calder. Point plus 2,000 for the Rocket Richard. And Kucherov plus 600 for the Art Ross.
Yeah, you covered it. I mean, we have the same. I'm in there with a few of those. I just didn't tell you on some of them. But Don comes in here making fun of the Leafs and says the odds for the Leafs to make it past the second round are plus infinity. He talked about the Avs making it past the second round. I'm not sure about that one, but
Avs can
and
never
then
get past the second
I don't
round.
know if do you know who New Gaming is?
I don't.
It might be, dude. It's not like New. I think that's Nate Brander, but I doubt it. But he came in here saying Virginia
Any
money line.
viewers are welcome.
I'm not.
Virginia
I'm not
money
really
line.
sure. Not really sure what that means,
Well,
but
I don't watch too much college, but I wish you luck, man.
yeah, well, maybe take a look at it. Other than that, I think
Is
that
that
wraps
it?
up the Atlantic Division.
All right, folks. Well, I want to thank you guys all for watching this. People who watched it live, people who are going to end up watching this as a video. You can follow us on Twitter at Royal Bettors. It's the same as the channel name. You see our little individual Twitters and our picture boxes there at Jake19. I'm at Jaric _ rubel11. We have been Royal Bettors. We will make an announcement on Twitter at some point as to when our Western Conference previews will start. It'll be some point next week.
Central. I'm
Yeah,
excited for the Central, but
we'll
that's because
kick
we're
things
Hawks
off
fans.
with
And
the Central.
yeah,
So yeah,
and by the way, that is Nate. He said in the chat, you're correct. So
gotcha. All right,
Nate,
so
thanks for watching.
I would appreciate anybody to just kind of retweet us on Twitter, and we'll give you guys follow backs. We want to grow this sucker. We're going to be live 7 days a week starting October 12th. And yeah, we love everybody who's going to, tune in and hang out with us. It's going to be a fun hockey season. So I've been
Yeah,
Jaric. That's
and I'm
Jake. You
Jake.
got any last words?
No, Don says good show. Thanks for watching, and
All
we will
right,
see you
guys.
guys next time.
Have a good afternoon. Enjoy
Yeah,
your
thanks.
Thursday. Thursday night football tonight. I'm a Jags fan. They're going to get killed.
All right, goodbye, guys.
See y'all.